So in this lesson, we're going to be doing some problem solving on the module regarding the different chemical and physical properties and the changes that matter undergoes. Number 1, identify the following as chemical or physical changes: water evaporating, crushing aspirin, digesting food, iron rusting, sulfur reacting with hydrogen when heated, and burning wood. So this question is asking us to state whether these are chemical or physical changes. So for A, water evaporating. Evaporation is a change of state where one substance is just changing from a liquid into a gas. This is surely a physical change. All changes of state are physical changes. So we'll write down over here that it's a physical change. Moving on, B. Crushing aspirin. When we're crushing aspirin, we're just turning the large tablet into smaller pieces, but it's still aspirin, so it's also a physical change. C. We have digesting food. What happens when we digest food? Stomach acid, for example, breaks down large proteins into smaller kinds of proteins. This is changing the chemical identity of a substance, so food digestion is a chemical change. Write down that it's a chemical change. D. We have iron rusting. Iron rusts when iron atoms combine with oxygen to form a new reddish compound, or what chemists call an iron oxide. This is thus a chemical change because you have iron, one kind of element, and then you have oxygen, another kind of element, combining and forming a completely new substance. So iron plus oxygen would give you the iron oxide, and this is a chemical change. E. Sulfur reacting with hydrogen when heated. So a big giveaway is this word reacting. So that must mean it's a chemical change. We don't know what's getting formed when sulfur is reacting with hydrogen, but it's irrelevant because it's reacting, so it must be forming something new. And burning wood for F. What is burning wood? It's basically wood reacting with oxygen, it being flammable. So wood is flammable over here when it's burning, and that is an example of something undergoing a chemical change. Number 2. How would you separate A, sugar and sand, and B, sulfur and iron? So these are mixtures. Let's just put that down. And we can separate them based on the properties they retain in the mixture. The first is a mixture of sugar and sand. We can't just pass these through a filter because both particles are relatively the same size. What else do we know about sugar? So some of the properties of sugar is that it dissolves in water. We can take this mixture, add some water into it, and mix it. We'll see that the sugar gets completely dissolved. And now we can pass it through a filter. Now that the water with the sugar will get filtered out from the sand, we're employing the fact that all these substances now have different particle sizes. So this is when the filter would work. Okay, for B we have sulfur and iron. What do we know about iron? Iron is a metal. Iron also just so happens to be magnetic. We can separate the iron because it's magnetic and the sulfur isn't. The iron will be attracted to the magnet and will be pulled out from the mixture. And lastly, we have number 3. A substance is able to be pounded into thin sheets and is able to be stretched into a thin wire. Its density is 1.699 grams per cubic centimeter, and it is shiny. It reacts with an acid to form hydrogen. Out of the descriptions given, identify which are chemical and which are physical properties. We need to see where in those statements is a description of a chemical or physical property. So let's just write it out over here. First, we have a substance that's being pounded into thin sheets. Is the substance changing into another? No, it's just changing its shape. Another name for this kind of property is malleability, a substance's ability to be pounded into thin sheets. Malleability is a physical property. So we can put down over here in our table that this is an example of a physical property. Next, we have a substance is able to be stretched into a thin wire. Again, it is just changing its shape, so this is also a physical property. This happens to be called ductility as well. Metals normally are malleable and ductile. Now the density is 1.699 grams per cubic centimeter. Density is an intensive physical property of a substance, so that's surely going in this section. Now it's shiny. That describes luster, or how light interacts on the surface of matter. This is describing an appearance, so luster is a physical property. And finally, the substance reacts with an acid to form hydrogen. Again, the keyword is react over here. The ability to react with an acid is a chemical property.